everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see. Oh, so first of all, before we get into anything, so today is Monday, December 2nd, 2019. So I got to show you. I had to go back down to Walmart today, and I thought, so anyways, the other day I'm playing with the dogs, okay? And I like to tease both of them and get them going. So what I'll do is a lot of times I'll pick one of them up, and I'll pretend I'm loving on that dog. You know, oh, I love you, you're such a good dog. And the other dog goes absolutely nuts, okay? So I picked up Caesar, and I'm holding him like this. I got my arms around him. And, you know, Pandora is just jumping. She's jumping on me and just going nuts. And he goes like this. He kicks his head back and slams his head back, breaks my glasses right at the weld. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding. I just got these glasses, right? So, what happened was I super glued it so that it stayed and it was okay. But I'm like, you know what? Let me go down to Walmart and see, you know, what we can do. And I didn't even realize that I had a year. Oh my God, I'm going blank on what it's called. Warranty, a year warranty on the glasses. That if they break, they will replace them. So I went in and they had another pair there, and so they replaced them right on the spot. Put my new lens or my lenses into the new glasses, and good to go. So really happy about that. So that was a fun thing. Okay, so let's get into the topic of this video. Okay, and I got the fire going behind me, which feels awesome. I just got back home. I was out and about, so I just fed it. So that's why it doesn't seem to be roaring, but it is definitely going. All right, so we're going to go over 10 things that our grandparents did not have that we do have when it comes to prepping, okay? So there's some advantages. I'm always talking about the old skills, the lost skills and that type of stuff, but what are some of the advantages we have in modern day that our ancestors did not have? And I'm talking like great-grandparents, not just our grandparents, but our great-grandparents. So I got a list of 10 things, okay? So I wanted to go over these things with you guys, and if you want to add anything else that I missed in the comments, please feel free to add anything else that you can think of in the comments under these categories. Alright, so we're going to talk about food storage for in the first thing, okay? So what are the advantages with food storage that we have now that they did not have, you know, back, what, 120 years ago, let's say, right? So one of the things is Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. You know, being able to take a 5-gallon food grade bucket and putting that Mylar bag in, your oxygen absorber, your food, and to be able to keep it that much more safe. They did not have that 120 years ago. Okay, so that was a big thing. And so another thing that they did not have back then was freeze-dried foods. The technology was not there then to do freeze-dried foods to give you a 25-year shelf life on your freeze-dried foods. All right. Another thing is like the lids. You know, for your buckets, they have the gamma lids now that are just nice and twist off, and boom, there you go. Your stuff is right there. That's definitely another advantage that they did not have back 120 years ago. Better canning jars. The old style jars are really thick, and you had to use a rubber gasket seal. The newer canning jars are a lot more lightweight, and they're definitely more efficient. So that upgrade in being able to do canning is better as well. You know, if you're looking at pressure cookers, you know, they didn't have those way back when. We have those now to be able to can stuff and really preserve meats and stuff like that. So that's another thing, okay? Number 2 is going to be an alternative sources of power, okay? So what didn't they have 120 years ago, right? They didn't have solar. There was no solar. I think they did do wind, because a lot of the saw or power mills and stuff like that, so they did use wind back then, but they did not have solar. They didn't have generators. So, you know, we have that advantage today with prepping that we can have that backup generator. Batteries. You look at the batteries that we have now that they did not have back then, okay? Like hand crank flashlights, those type of things. You know, they did not have those back then, where we have those now. You know, and like flashlights that you can use batteries in and stuff like that. But A lot of that technology was not there then, which definitely gives us an advantage today. Again, as long as it's not an EMP that hits us. Okay, so I want to make that clear. Okay, so the number 3 is going to be your early warning systems. Okay, bad weather, being able to turn the news on and find out what the 10-day forecast is, and have it be somewhat accurate. But if you know that there is a bad storm coming, you know, that's nice to have. If there's a disaster in certain area, we know about it instantaneously now, where before you would never find out till much later, which is nice. So that's you know, and then another thing too, it's like usually the weather follows certain patterns. Okay, so we have the technology where we can look over the last 100 years and see what the weather was and what it was doing and stuff like that. So it's a much more advanced technology that you can see now. So those are things you know, for your, you know, that you can kind of go by as well. So your early warning systems, you didn't have those 120 years ago. There's no way. There's no, you know, you had none of that type of stuff. I mean, they had the telegraph, I think, is what they had back then. Okay. Number 4 would be your MapQuest, your Google Maps, your navigating systems. Like even on your phone, you can if you're on your phone and you're trying to find directions to someplace, you can just pull it up, boom, and there it is. On a lot of the new cars, they have the navigation systems on the new cars. So you have, you know, that opportunity to be able to say, all right, this is the address, how do I get there? And boom, it's going to show you exactly how to get there. So that's a nice advantage that we have today that they did not have, you know, obviously 120 years ago. So number 5 is going to be communications. Okay, you didn't have CB radios, you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have you know, ham radios or the internet. So you know, those are definitely things that we did not have, you know, 120 years ago. I mean, the internet itself is not really that old, realistically. That just came in the late 1980s or late 1970s is when the whole internet thing started, and you know, and then it just everything kind of snowballed from there. But you know, now it's everywhere. So we have instant ways to communicate, which were not there. You know, so you're talking your handheld radios, your walkie-talkies, even those forms of communications. We didn't have that 120 years ago. So really nice way to be able to get information really quickly, relaying it to people and stuff like that. So you're talking back then, you had the Pony Express. That was the fastest way to be able to get information or mail traveling from one place to the other. So that was, you know, that's definitely a big thing. Number 6, we have better shelters than they did back then. Now, they knew how to build shelters back then, but think about, and this is one of the things that I was thinking about, you're looking at your lightweight tents that are designed for really cold weather. You look at the tents that they use when they climb Mount Everest. You know, the wind is whipping and blowing, and they're in these tents, and they're perfectly fine. You know, and it's a very thin, lightweight material, so it's not heavy. So that makes it really nice. We have sleeping bags that are rated to, like, you know, minus 30 degrees now. So you have that advantage as well, which you would not have had before. Okay, so that's a really nice thing as well. So, you know, definitely better ways to keep warm. You know, foot warmers, hand warmers, those type of things. I mean, they didn't have those, you know, so that's, you know, definitely better ways to be able to, you know, stay warm, stay dry. The modern technology with everything, you know, ponchos, the way that they got the ponchos now, you know, and again, everything is lightweight, so you're not having to carry, you know, your beaver skins, which are going to be really heavy, to be able to stay warm or stay dry, and you know, that type of thing. So that makes a big difference. You're looking at our better, number 7 is better medical. You look at the advancements in medical technologies. I mean, you can now, you know, you're going to be able to get all kinds of medicines that were not available before, and you know, be able to have access to that for infections and whatever and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, in the old days, they had certain people that knew the different, you know, medical plants and medicinal plants and those type of things. But again, the technology of be able to walk into the store and go, yeah, I need an antifungal, or I need an anti, you know, biotic or whatever. that wasn't there unless you actually knew what you were doing as far as the plants and stuff like that. So that made a big difference. So, and you know, the better medical that we have today is definitely helping to make people last longer. Where, okay, so I had an appendicitis when I was 9 years old, and it was pretty quick the way that they did it, because when they discovered it, the poison was all through my body. Well, 120 years ago, if I'd had that same appendicitis, I'd have died at 9 years old. Okay, so big difference in the advancement of modern medicine to be able to take care of things and cure a lot of things that were not being able to be cured. Polio, all those type of different things. They're basically non-existent anymore because of modern medicine. So that makes a big difference. Number 8 is hygiene. So you're thinking hygiene, well, they took, you know, baths and stuff like that. But a lot of times back then, if it was wintertime, they would put on them long johns, and they kept on the same long johns throughout the entire winter. So we know the value now of better hygiene. A great example of better hygiene today, we have tampons for ladies and stuff like that. So your feminine hygiene products, where back then, you know, they had to use rags or whatever it is that they used 120 years ago to be able to, you know, take care of their menses and stuff like that. So definitely a big difference in that. And so, you know, you're talking about toothpaste, foot powders, baby powder, you know, mouthwash, deodorant, you know, all those different type of things. Just being able to, you know, knowing that you have to really keep clean, and the hand washing techniques to be able to stop infections from spreading and all that. So your basic hygiene, they didn't have the knowledge of that like we do now, and have access to all the things like we do now. So that definitely gives us an advantage on that. Number 9 is options for transportation. I mean, back then it was either by horse, or you had your horses in a wagon, or you walked. You know, I know that back then they had some kind of bicycles, but you didn't really have the roads or you know, to be able to do that, to travel on those type of things with those type of bicycles. So, but now we have, you know, cars, motorcycles, you know, off-road bikes, you know, and all that type of stuff. We have RVs, campers, you know, trucks. All those things are available now, so we can travel great distances in a very short period of time. Where, you know, 120 years ago, to go to the town 12 miles away, that was an all-day event, because it was going to take you a while to get there, you know, and you probably had to spend the night and then come back on your, you know, the next day. So it definitely, you know, that makes a big difference too. With transportation, it gives us a lot more options today. And number 10 is the emergency services, okay, for disasters. So you think about 120 years ago, if there was a disaster in a local town, realistically, not a lot of people knew about it until word got out. But now we have, like, you have the Red Cross, and you have FEMA, and, you know, you have the government come in. You'll have different companies come in with, when they have had hurricanes or anything like that, you have companies will come in with washing machines so people can wash their clothes. You'll have other companies come in with bottled water so that they can have fresh drinking water. You also have, you know, they'll bring in batteries, you know, for people to be able to use. And so the organization for, and then again, that communications plays in that, because you know exactly where that emergency is, what part of the country, and you know, what they need, and then people are able to take care of that. And so that's huge. I mean, that is absolutely huge, to be able to have that hopefully instantaneous response, other than Hurricane Katrina, to be able to deal with these different disasters. People are stepping up to the plate too a lot more now. I mean, you look at the people with the flooding that happened earlier this year, like in Houston and all those type of areas. You had a lot of people came in on their own boats, and you know, they were rescuing people. So, and that happens through Louisiana and all those areas as well. You have a lot of people, regular civilians, that will step up to the plate and get involved, but they know what's going on, again, because a lot of the things that we have with modern technology today that our ancestors did not have. So I think that that's really important. I got to show you here. Hold on. Oh, come here, baby boy. So this is one of the kittens. This was the runt. This is Mr. Abel. And so Eddie named him, and that's his cat. But He is definitely fattened up for the winter, haven't you? You're a good boy. He's our crier too. He's the one that likes to cry. You gonna cry, or are you just gonna sit here and just take the loving? Yeah, you just gonna take the loving? Okay, you're a good boy. But anyway, yeah, this is one of the two kittens. So we have Abel and Gelko still. As you guys know, anybody that's watched the channel, the other kitten, Slugger, last winter he passed away through the winter, and I don't know what was going on with him. What? Are we done? Are you done? Don't want any more love? Yeah? Tell me. You good boy? Yeah. I know, baby. He's a good cat, though. I really like that cat. So anyway, so I want to hear if there's anything that I missed, if you can think of modern things that we have now that they did not have back then, as far as what can help as preppers. What is an advantage that we have now as preppers that they didn't have, 120 years ago. So, the difference between then and now is like, it's unbelievable. Even from the time when I was a kid growing up in, the late 70s, early 80s, the technology from then to now is unbelievable. How, leaps and bounds. I mean, leaps and bounds. It's crazy. I mean, realistically, the first thing that came out as far as like games for kids was Pong. So a lot of you are going to remember when I talk about Pong. It was, if you looked at it now, you'd be like, are you freaking kidding me? But that was like, holy Christopher, this is the height of technology. It was awesome. And the first games that came out, Centipede, Space Invaders, and Pac-Man. Those were the first 3 games that really came out. And I can remember playing them for hours and hours and hours. And it was a blast as a kid, and I was probably, about 12 years old when those came out. So it was really, really cool. And but again, that's and now you look at what they have now. They have all these games that it's like I'm not even close to thinking I'm going to be playing any of those, because I don't do any of that anyway. So, but it's a big difference now. The kids are growing up with such advancements that it's absolutely crazy. So, but anyway, guys, I want to remind everybody as well. The Legacy sale ends tonight. Okay, so it's going to be midnight West Coast time tonight, or 3 a.m. tomorrow, meaning Tuesday, East Coast time. Okay, so we do it that way so that everybody on the West Coast has that opportunity to take advantage of the sale. You have the 720 package is still, it's available, and that is normally $18.99, and it's right now it's at $1,099, so it's an $800 savings, which ends up being about 42%. The other thing that they have available right now is the 60 meal bucket, which is normally a $185, and right now it is on sale for $140. So that's definitely a big difference there too as well. If you were thinking about adding to your freeze-dried food storage, you can do it that way. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to jump off of here for now. I still got my dogs are outside. I got to go get them. And so, like I said, I got home and I put them out, so they ready to come in, I'm sure. Remember, guys, we are all in this together. That is important to remember. Also remember to hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important that we tell the people that we care about every single day how we feel. Also remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever you are trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that's going to stop you from getting there is you, nobody else. So it doesn't have to be prepping or living off grid. It can be whatever you're pursuing in life. If you have a dream and you pursue it, don't let anybody stop you. Don't listen to negative people trying to hold you back. Stay positive and reach those goals, okay? I will talk to you all tomorrow. Prepper Nurse One, out for now.